they're filming me, filming them. So there's a wee bit more, God knows who's up there, ITV, STV, God knows who's up there, but they are up there. Well, what can I say? It's been a hell of a night, and we're back here on the morning after the day before with still no results. Nothing dodgy about that, is there? Where the process only used to take 1 day, we've now got it 3 days. We're now following the United States and how to corrupt your political process. Oh, fantastic. Good stuff, good. Postal ballots obviously was able to corrupt the political process in America, and we've obviously decided to import it. Oh, fantastic. Absolutely genius. Absolute genius. We've got a God Save the Queen type of guy here. Well, thank you for coming in here. Thank you. There's my man there. Who did you vote for, boss?
That's the SNP, that's for sure.
So,
Dictator.
she is, aye, yeah. Communist. So, I was talking to some of my friends there.
3 o'clock in the morning, I've been working since doing the 7-hill challenge now.
Good man, good man. You look fit, you look in good shape. So, what have we got here? So, you obviously know that the legacy media are concerned about the fact that we are now here to take over, basically, and the Guerilla TV should be buying the legacy media as we grow exponentially and they reduce, that we will eventually take over the legacy media, thanks to you guys, thanks to your support, and we're just growing exponentially because we give you the best news. So what happened last night, guys? What happened? Let's talk about Hartlepool, shall we? And it was a bit of a shame. Obviously, even though the Reform UK is an extension of the Brexit Party, the Brexit Party is different from Reform UK. So Reform UK has to go back to scratch. So they went back to scratch last night. And the interesting thing was that David Curtin's Heritage Party beat them after the actual Brexit Party vote collapsed and went to the Conservative Party, which was quite interesting. Obviously, people appreciating Bojo locking us in our houses. Oh, very interesting, isn't it? So what else have we got? I mean, really, it was disasters for Keir Starmer. Another red walls out the gate. And if more people party who were nastiness of the Labour Party, then we're going to see, we could see even more. It could be an even larger majority for Bojo next time, which is quite incredible. Although I certainly would go for the Reform UK Party. I think we need a change from, I think people think that the Conservatives are the solution, and I think the Conservatives are the problem. That's what I think. So I would suggest that they're the underlying issue, not the solution. It's them that are letting in the immigrants. I was watching We've Got a Problem, talking about the raping of women all over the UK by people who have just came here off the boats. They're raping them, people from Sudan, and just raping them on the streets. Muslims raping them openly on the streets. I mean, it's just absolutely incredible. You should check out We've Got a Problem. Go and check it out for yourself. It was incredible commentary that he was saying. We saw Jada Francis there actually digging up wee Nippy about A, being a communist, which was correct, and B, being part of the communist cabal, and part of covering up the abuse of women out on the streets in Glasgow by Muslims, apparently, and obviously Roma gypsies and things like that. I think that was happening as well. So all of this has all been covered up. Oh, we don't want to talk about it. We'll just call everybody else the racist, and then so we don't have to address the underlying issue. All right, I see. Is that how it works? Is it? Oh, very clever. So what else have we got? We've also got the councils. What's happening to the Labour councils? Labour is getting smashed all over the place. Smashed. We've seen councillor after councillor falling. The Tories are picking up all these councillors. I thought there would be a bit better showing by a better showing by the UK Reform Party. We have some patriots in the Conservative Party. The fight will continue. We, the people, will win. Yeah, well, I'm not sure. I'm still swithering whether Boris is an actual patriot. Is Boris a patriot, or is Boris just another part of the underlying problem? Let me just get my battery charger out and make sure that I don't lose connection here. So I'm not sure if the Conservative Party is full of patriots or just full of corporatist globalists. So, but Richard Tice has to really start from it again, and he has to start to try and suck in other people who are of a like mind. It's pointless. David Curtin, who's a smashing fellow, and Richard Tice, who's also a smashing fellow as well, having two separate parties. So are the globalists. So So I'm not sure that that's going to be beneficial. You would be telling the Privy Council to do one, but obviously the Privy Council are connected with the royalty as well. And what Privy Council are the globalist enemy? Not much longer. And my guess, well, you should check who's on the Privy Council if you think the Privy Council are the globalist enemy. I would suggest that they're potentially the globalists, but well, I'll leave that to you. But I saw who was on the Privy Council, and it was like that. I couldn't believe it. It was a cross-party, and it was pretty much the globalists that were all on it. So, but I'll beg to differ on that one. Yeah. So what else happened? So they're getting smashed all over the place. The Tories up in the northeast of Scotland looked like they could have beaten Labour. In Shetland, Orkney, Shetland, the illiberal, undemocratic Democrats of I think it's Wee Willie that's got back in, and what else has been happening? Yeah, Wee Willie's back. Northeast, Aberdeenshire or something up there. The Tories could have beaten SNP. Looks like a significant swing of something like 7%. The Conservative Party up the northeast of Scotland. I'm surprised that these two results are coming in with the postal ballots. I don't know how quickly they got the postal ballots and how quickly they managed to count them. But I mean, very impressive if they're in already. As we rightly pointed out yesterday, that we're not going to get any results until tomorrow. Count Dankula looks like he's got thousands of votes. I heard a Privy Council member talking to another. He said he was. I missed that. Did I miss that? Count Dankula looks like he's got tens of thousands of votes. Thousands of votes, not tens of thousands of votes. Thousands of votes as well. He'll be the most voted for member of the Scottish Libertarian Party ever. There's a guy on the internet saying he voted Dank. I believe there's thousands of people that voted Dank. He's an international celeb. He just needs to keep going in politics, and his popularity will grow exponentially, being the fantastic fellow that he is, and a great comedian. But yeah, it's fascinating. I was told the smart meter machines to count. Oh no, Scottish votes. Is this true? I don't know. I haven't heard about it. But if there's smart meter machines and postal voting, you need to stop voting for the five main parties. That is not acceptable. People should be counting by hand. As far as I've seen, they're counting by hand. Whether or not any of the councils have brought in machines, there's no requirement for machines to actually count ballots in Scotland. The way that it was working was fine before, and there was no reason behind it. But you have to watch the globalists, and with their we already know they're corrupting it through the postal ballots and also the counting machines as well. So we have to be very vigilant for not allowing them to pervert our democracy. So what else is happening? What else? So we'll have to wait till tomorrow. Labour have done disastrously and badly. Smartmatic is software corrupted. Software corrupted. Is software corrupted? I'm not sure if the software corrupted, but it can be corrupted. They said they weren't connecting to the internet, and they were. There was a number of issues there. Obviously, Donald Trump should have been Dopey Joe, Weekend at Bernie's. But Weekend at Bernie's president was the most desirable president ever. So obviously, no, that's not true either. So this is a real issue. Here's old John Sweet. I see they've tried to segregate me. See, they're trying to segregate the Guerilla TV channel from the main political parties, try and get away from me so I don't get to speak to them. Because they want to protect the politicians, they don't want to question the politicians. Completely different. They can only run so long until we actually meet up, and until things actually really start to change. They can only hide so long, they can only segregate themselves. All those barriers, I could go over those barriers. My baby gorillas will go over those barriers, straight into those tents and start to remonstrate with them, wouldn't they? So they can only hold so long, they can only hide so long until we actually have our say. They won't get away with just hiding behind and protecting the political elite from the wrongdoings. So Scotland will have to go to the bottom of the barrel before the SNP peeps wake up. Well, I don't think people see, the thing about it is they're voting for two separate things. They are running scared, Davy. There's two separate things. There's the nationalists and there's the communists in the SNP. Now the nationalists don't realise, I don't think that the other part are actually communists like Nicola Sturgeon. Nicola Sturgeon won't deliver on the independence, because then we would have to look at Nicola Sturgeon as a political entity, and we would see that she's a communist standing behind that communist symbol, in front of the communist symbol, with a red suit on, looking like Chairman Mao, doing all the postmodernist Marxist SJW nonsense. We all know that wee Nippy underlying is a communist. And not a nationalist. She's on the record for saying she's not a nationalist. And we all know she's a postmodernist Marxist. Jada Francis was right, regardless of whether you like Jada Francis or not. I'm not actually here to criticise, because I don't know Jada Francis. I've not had a sit down and a chat with her. I certainly would. I would talk to anybody in the political spectrum. But I've not had a chance in a one-to-one conversation with Jada Francis. So she said she's not a fascist. Could she be a National Socialist, which is a different ideology? She could be anything. I don't know where Jada Francis is in the political compass. But she was correct about wee Nippy. Wee Nippy is a postmodernist Marxist. She was calling her a Marxist. Georgie Porgy Galloway's a Marxist. Wee Nippy's a social justice Marxist. Social justice warrior Marxist, or a postmodernist Marxist, more correctly, succinctly put, from the critical school of from Frankfurt. So Jada Francis was correct on that issue. You can be correct and not be exactly politically aligned. If you know what the underlying person is or politician is, you can actually say that is that right. And Nicola Sturgeon, Jada Francis says, wee Nippy called Nicola Sturgeon a fascist. And Jada Francis said, no, I'm not a fascist. So she said she's not a fascist. But wee Nippy didn't say she wasn't a Marxist. Did you notice that? You need to pay attention to what the politicians are saying. Wee Nippy did not say she wasn't a Marxist, because she is. Because she can't say that, because that's what her policies are. Oh, fantastic, isn't it? Absolutely huge. Tam King Ming Laird is going to get the best polling results for the Scottish Libertarian Party. The Scottish Libertarian Party and up. They're going to get thousands and thousands of votes. Could even get 1%, I'm not sure, but this is the start of a much bigger Scottish Libertarian Party, which will be there to combat against the communists, and rightly so, which will be absolutely fantastic. What else have we got? We have got the Labour Party collapsing. The Tories in Scotland are going to have a good night, as they have done all over the UK. Tories seem to be on a buzz for some reason. People like getting locked down in the house. Have enjoyed what Bojo's done. We already saw last night that the British economy is going to go up something like 7.25% GDP increase, and we're going to be back by the autumn to pre-COVID situation with the GDP. Although we're going to be more indebted, I would suggest, which they didn't cover as well. So because of the cost of everybody sitting in a house for a year. So I would suggest our debt levels might have gone up in response, but because they have done this money going here, there and everywhere, I can say that you are looking very smart today. Man, you're the man. Thank you very much, my friend. Thank you. So, it's, well, let me just tidy myself up, make sure I'm got all my things for you guys. So, Nicola, what were we talking about there? I've totally lost my train of thought there. So the Tories are going to win. Labour Party are getting smashed about all over the place. They're full of communists. I was completely right in calling them out as a GIMP party, a globalist Islamo-Marxist party, as GIMPs. Everybody obviously took to that, understood that, but the SNP are just a GIMP party under Nicola Sturgeon as well. So it's not really, it's not like swapping one for another. It's one bunch of GIMPs for another bunch of GIMPs. Angus Robertson as well. Angus Robertson might not get elected. So that's an eeky peeky there as well. It's a real one. If they don't get elected there, are they going to get elected in the regional vote? Oh, it's highly interesting. I mean, if they don't get these, there's a number, probably 10 to 20 seats that are in play. I didn't realise it was as high as that. Could go SNP, could go Conservative or Labour, or a Liberal, undemocratic Democrats. I'm talking about in the constituency vote, not the regional vote. Talking about first past the post voting in the Scottish election, and it's just absolutely incredible. The battles are on. Obviously, they didn't get rid of Wee Willie up in Orkney and Shetland, and they haven't got rid of the average Tory now is Everyday Joe. Yeah, he is. That's it, and it's all changed. Yeah, that's right. We have rejected the leftist hate agenda. Well, but it's not what you've rejected, and I do agree with that. I'm not disagreeing with you there. But it's what the Tories are. And the Tories are a corporatist globalist party. It's the Tories that signed up to the Barcelona process. It's the Tories that signed up to the Union of the Mediterranean. It's the Tories that signed up to the UN Compact in Marrakesh. And let's not kid on, they're not getting... the globalist hands are not all over the Conservative Party, and they're a corporatist, not a capitalist party as well. So there's a number of issues within the Conservative Party that are not addressed just now, and there's issues there because, and that's why I would suggest it would be good to actually have another right of centre party. But what you're rightly pointing out there is that the Labour Party have collapsed, are collapsing. They're not getting on. They've got too many loon balls. We all know the Labour Party is full of the village idiots now, and it's like they're not a quality of MP down in Westminster in the Labour backbenches. Who are you going to pick? Who would you pick other than Keir Starmer as a heavy political hitter? That bench is full of Remainers. It's full of absolute loon balls. The people, they're racist, openly racist against the people that they've moved here to be with in the country, openly anti-white racists. And I mean, really, why would you be voting for them? That's one of the reasons that all the work, you're quite rightly saying, the working man has switched from the Conservative, from the Labour Party to the Conservatives, because the Labour Party are seen as deeply anti-patriotic, which I don't think the working man is. They're now become anti-white. They're anti-white racists with critical race theory, just the same as we nippy, and they're openly a nasty bunch, nasty party. And they don't have the same small c Conservative values as the working man and woman in these northern seats, who are very decent people, and the Midlands. It's all collapsing. I think it's going to get worse. It's not going to get any better for Labour. It could get worse, because they've not got anybody that's inspirational there. There isn't a Tony Blair. I mean, Starmer is the Tony Blair-esque, pound shop Blair-esque Tony Blair of this time, and he's got a personality to like a wet weekend in Blackpool. Let's be honest. Let's be honest about it. No point in lying. So, what else we've got? Oh, I've got some interesting stuff coming up just now. Count Dankula's election. Is Georgie Porgy going to win his seat? in the regional list? Is Alex Salmon going to win? Is Kenny McCaskill going to win his regional seat? Oh, that might throw up another by-election as for an MP if Kenny resigns. I don't know if he's going to hold both posts. Oh, it's absolutely unbelievable. Absolutely unbelievable what's going to happen. And then have they managed to gerrymander the votes through abuse of power, whether they've got the voting machines that they're trying to pervert the democratic course, or postal ballots, or they've got that guy down in the Muslim guy down for the Labour Party who's corrupted the voting system down there as well, and all the people that have had to resign from the anti-Semitic Labour Party. Oh, first we need to sink the Labour Party once and for all, and now the fight is on against the con globalists. We will get them and get them one by one. Yeah, well, certainly things are changing now. We're starting to feel the change. They've got to hide behind the media, and they've got to protect the globalist traditions, and they've got to protect the media, the legacy media. But we're already here, and we're not going away, and we're just getting bigger. Oh, it's fantastic. It's delicious. It's delicious. So tomorrow is going to be the big day. Seeing collapse after collapse in the Labour seats. Hartlepool was a disaster. If Sadiq Khan, now Sadiq Khan, or Sadiq Kant, as the case may be, is one of would be the biggest scalp. That's Hamza got his seat. That's Hamza got his seat. It's a disaster, man. What are the people in Pollock doing? I mean, honestly, unbelievable. The new GB News channel should help. We need honest MSN. Fat Andy's a gatekeeper. Fat Andy's a gatekeeper. You're only getting the real news through here. Big Fat. I think Andy is a great journalist. I'm not trying, but if you think Fat Andy's not just a gatekeeper, then you're tripping. Fat Andy will not have me on his show to actually go head to head with them. He can only throw insults from the side. He won't go head to head with me because he's scared of me, not physically, intellectually. So that's the thing that we've got just now. We've got the whole situation going on. Can't believe Hamza Useless is back. That's a disaster. It's an absolute disaster. So I would suggest the SNP are going to have a good night, but not a great night. I said he's not fix. I felt like he said help, not fix. So yeah, we've got massive things happening. Thanks, Michelle. That news put me right off my tee. Yes. Can't believe Hamza Useless, the anti-white racist, is back. But that just sums up, doesn't it, the SNP? I had to turn the TV off. Yeah, so, I mean, that's disaster. I don't know how Hamza Useless has managed to get back in after all these very derogatory terms and things he did in him and Sarwar. But I'm sure we've got these clowns for a few more years yet, unfortunately. We'll really have to take them to task. Next election we'll be going ahead anyway, so we'll get the new political party up. They won't get any more free rides now. Won't get any more free rides. But yeah, I'm very exciting. It's very exciting times. Hopefully we'll get some people on the regional list that aren't of the 5. I would put my foot through it. I would have put my foot through it. Hopefully we'll get somebody out with the 5 major parties. Don't forget, this is for over the long period. This is for the long term, not the short term. We have to claw our way back up. How on earth did Hamza get back in? Check the ballots, laugh out loud, of course. I'm not surprised. They've obviously, they've just, a lot of people have just voted SNP for the sake of voting SNP for independence. But if Scotland got independence, then these entities would probably be in political peril, because then we would have to look at what they've actually done at a domestic level, because they would have got their independence. So that would be a big problem for them if they actually facilitate it. That's why I don't think we Nippy actually genuinely wants to facilitate independence, because and she's putting it off, and I reckon in 4 years, watch this space, I reckon in 5 years' time we won't have very further towards independence, even though SNP could murder Waynes and still get away with it, or murder grannies. 5 years' time, we won't be any further forward to independence. We won't be any further forward, and the people hopefully will start to smell the coffee and realise that we Nippy and the SNP are not for that. Hi David, keep up the good work, mate. Thank you, Paul. Thank you. So we won't be any further forward. We won't be any further forward under the SNP. We'll just get more anti-white racism from the Labour Party and the Labour Party and the SNP. And then the hate speech, they'll be allowed to be as racist as they want. If we say anything back, then it'll be hate speech. But this might cause actual physical issues in the future. I don't see this going down very well over the medium to long term. So I would just be very careful what you wish for. So yeah, I mean, fascinating though, fascinating. I think the SNP are going to do well in the constituency list. Obviously, Humza Useless has managed to get back in, being an absolutely terrible MSP. Just shows you that quality doesn't count in politics. But Can or Mike is getting beaten by Bailey. Bailey's actually a lovely fella. I really like him as an individual. I don't know how large a political entity is, to be honest with you, but he seems like a lovely guy on a personal basis. But I still don't know if he's actually of a high enough political calibre to be in the position he's in. But this is the problem. Because of brand recognition by the five large parties, to break that recognition is going to be very difficult. And for Richard Tice and even David Curtin, even if both of those parties came together, they would only got just over 3%, I think, in Hartlepool, and they need to pool the resources. They will not be able to overturn the machine until they actually start working together and pooling the resources and making a larger party. And it may be the Tories versus, it doesn't have to be the Tories versus the Labour Party or the illiberal, the Labour Nazi Party, or the illiberal, liberal and democratic Democrats, or even the Moby and the Marxists. So it could be versus the Reform UK Party, which would do a lot more interesting things to the political system than certainly the Conservatives would. The Conservatives are a corporatist party and trying to conserve their own disproportionate gains from what they actually do, giving jobs and billions of pounds to their friends in the Conservative Party to look after illegal immigrants, while the illegal immigrants rape women all over the UK. If you look at, as I said, we've got a problem. He actually documents these women. So, I mean, it's just absolutely incredible what's happening, incredible. And I can't believe Humza Useless is back in. We're going to get some bad results on the fact that people vote for terrible politicians. And that's unfortunately what's going to happen. We will have to accept that reality. But all we can do is hope for some entertainment with other politicians coming in on board. But let's never forget, Nicola Sturgeon is a commie. My baby Gorillas,